Hello from Seattle, and here is a certain amount of reasons why you should never ever visit Slovenian coast. Reason number one, if the concept of safety while being a pedestrian or a cyclist is completely foreign to you because you come from a certain country, then you will be extremely disappointed. Especially if you think the car is everything, you will be sad. There are several paths that have been closed to traffic, except for pedestrians and cyclists and maybe occasional skateboarder or a rollerblader. So if you come to Slovenian coast thinking I'll just get from point A to B with my car because I don't feel like walking and the average steps I walk per day is -8, it's just not gonna work out. If the sight of vineyards triggers you because you have some sort of personal issues, or you just hate the word and the way they look, you will be very upset at Slovenian coast because vineyards are everywhere. Everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Here's more of them. Oh, they're here again. Oh, you turn around, they're also there. They're also here and here and here and there and here. There's even a path called the Vineyard Road, which tells you something about vineyards. Vineyards are a part of Slovenian culture. Slovenians make a lot of wine. They also drink a lot of wine. But some of it gets to be sold as well, mainly to the neighbors so you can drink with them. And then some of them end up in bars where you go to order them and you can also drink them. So if you're like, ew, wine, ew, vineyards, just stay home. If the only way for you to get into water is through soft, sandy beaches and no other surface would do because your mother micromanaged you so much that you never learned to trust yourself or your feet, you're gonna be in a bit of a shock if you visit Slovenian coast because people in Slovenia, they jump in the water from this surface, also from this surface. This is the surface where you sunbathe. This is the surface where you have a picnic on. This is the surface you spend 7 hours reading your book on without a single mat. Just you and the towel. We don't have soft, sandy beaches that much. We have some, but I'm not gonna tell you what they are. You just have to find it on Google Maps, I guess. Also, leave no trace. Don't be a douche. If I catch you visiting Slovenia and you're littering, I will come personally for you with a shovel, a spatula, and maybe a fork. Try littering when you have a fork instead of your hands and a spatula is lodged in your throat. If you prefer to only swim in water where you cannot see the bottom, so you don't have to know what kind of sea creatures lie beneath the surface, then don't come to Slovenia. And also, if you don't like water that sparkles in the sun like a fairy tale your grandma used to tell you, don't come to Slovenia. The water here glistens like it's disco party in 1970s and looks brighter than your future. If you prefer water where you don't know what's underneath, maybe go to a place where the water tries to actively murder you. Have you ever almost drowned in the Pacific Ocean? I know I have. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. I give it 1 star on Yelp. But if you are into that type of stuff, the idea of being choked, then maybe don't come to Slovenia. Slovenia has very tiny waves. Surfing here, maybe with a boogie board. I don't know. No, it's not gonna be possible, man. It just doesn't work that way, okay? If you prefer to not know where your food comes from and you want to live with the impression that salt that you put on your veggies or spaghetti comes from different sources like sweat and tears, or maybe it just falls from the sky, don't come to Slovenia, especially to the part where salt is made, because then you will see that salt there comes from the sea, which, if you didn't know, is salty. There's even a whole brand called Piranske soline that you can actually find at the airport as well. Airport Ljubljana, that isn't in Ljubljana. It's in Kranj, but not really. It's in the Gorenjska region, closer to Kranj, but it used to be Brnik, now it's Letališće Jožeta Pučnika. Over there you have stuff that is made in Slovenia, and also you have their Piranske soline that you can purchase if you just want to brag about being in Slovenia but don't really want to know how salt is made or visit the location where salt is made. If you prefer your body of water to just be one type when you go to the seaside, so that you do not get confused which one to bathe in, then don't come to the Slovenian coast, because you will find a large variety of streams and swamps and just random patches of water that you'll never really be sure where it comes from. And then you'll have also the sea, obviously, because it's the seaside. Kind of hard not to have sea at the seaside. That would be very difficult. So if you easily get confused, oh, which water is the sea? Which one I can bathe in? Which one will give me bacteria that would slowly or fastly kill me? Then don't come to Slovenian coast, because you might die. If you don't like graveyards or cemeteries and you're not super into that kind of stuff, then don't come to Slovenian coast, because there is something called a graveyard of seashells, or a cemetery of seashells, where they're basically seashells on the beach everywhere. If you want to walk around barefoot and be like, look at me, I'm so cute, I'm walking on a bunch of seashells by the seashore, your feet will be shredded like cheddar. I don't know if that's the expression, but that's the only word that came to my mind at this very moment. Maybe because I thought of cheese grater, and if putting your feet on a cheese grater. You might think that this is the same one that I mentioned earlier, but it's completely different. So if you easily get confused which road to drive on, there are helpful little symbols on the ground that will tell you which road is used for which transportation. So the one that looks like a bicycle, that is for bicycles. Do not use a car there, even if it's electric. No flying rugs, no hoverboards, no paddleboarding there. It is for bicycles. If you're not super into Chris Jansen's song called Buy Me a Boat, then stay away from Slovenian coast. There's a lot of boats everywhere. So if you're not the type of person who would sing to yourself in the shower, money can't buy everything, but it can buy me a boat, then, you know, shame on you. It's a great song, but also don't come to Slovenia if you don't like boats. If you don't like to watch films by the seaside, and you think films and seaside do not mash very well, and if you think films are ugh, and especially at the seaside, no films at the seaside ever, then don't come to Slovenia. Slovenia has a festival of Slovenian film in Portorož every year. It's in October, so definitely don't come in October if you don't want to see some badass Slovenian films. And if you think films are just a waste of time, and that actors don't deserve to be compensated, and art doesn't matter, and everyone that is into art and in that industry should just get a real job, but you still consume countless and countless movies and radios and books and music, then don't come to Slovenia when I'm there. Okay? If you think Slovenia is a great place to road trip down the coast with hair flowing in your face, good vibes and hands up in the air, that's just not gonna, I mean, it will happen, but like for 20 minutes, because the length of the Slovenian coast is 46 kilometers or 29 miles, something like that. So if you're like, oh, I'm gonna take a multi-day road trip down the coast of Slovenia, I'm gonna drive thousands and thousands of kilometers, and it's gonna be a real great adventure. I'm gonna be saving up my money for a year to be able to afford it. You can probably afford it right now if you just have like $30 to your name for gas and some snacks and maybe some local fish or salt. If you don't like to be in the proximity of jellyfish, then don't come to Slovenia. Likewise, maybe don't come to Italy or Croatia. So if the vision of sea creatures that also burn you, like you just got bitch slapped, You got bitch slapped by nature. So these are all the reasons to never ever visit Slovenian coast. If you do end up visiting after all of this and you do not respect nature, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you want ransom, I don't have any money. But what I do have is a particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you respect nature and do not treat it like trash, that will be the end of it. But if you don't, I will pursue you. I will find you. And I will